Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going on a bit of a mission today to explore how one company, AFEX, is basically revolutionizing the African agricultural value chain.
Yeah, and we're pulling from a pretty solid mix of sources here: business case studies, company reports, and some really insightful executive interviews to map out their playbook.
Exactly. And to really grasp the scale of the challenge they're tackling, you just have to look at Nigeria. The country loses an estimated 3.5 trillion naira worth of crops post-harvest every single year.
Which is massive.
Right. And it's mostly just due to inadequate storage.
And the stark disparity here is the untapped potential. I mean, Africa holds 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land.
Wow.
Yeah. So to bridge that massive gap, IFX was founded in 2014 with this wildly ambitious goal to, well, essentially build an Amazon for commodities.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because
Yeah.
Amazon relies on massive, extensive physical fulfillment centers,
Right.
which is exactly where AFX kind of stumbled initially. They started out by acquiring a high-tech NASDAQ licensed trading platform.
A completely world-class fintech solution.
Right, but dropping a purely digital fintech solution
Right.
into a market lacking that last-mile physical infrastructure.
It creates a huge bottleneck. Yeah, because without secure localized storage, an electronic exchange just lacks underlying asset liquidity.
So AFX had to pivot to a much more holistic model. They began partnering and operating physical warehouses right near the farming communities.
And they combine those physical spaces with an electronic warehouse receipt system, or EWRS. That is the absolute linchpin here.
Because when a farmer deposits grain, they get a digital receipt.
Exactly. Suddenly, that stored grain transforms into bankable collateral. It perfectly merges fintech, meaning instant mobile payments and about 15% input financing for things like seeds and fertilizer, with actual grassroots logistics.
And the human impact of that pivot is just incredibly clear. Take E. Akinwole Benson, a Nigerian cocoa farmer we read about in the sources.
Oh yeah, his story is fascinating.
When AFEX first approached him, offering inputs on credit and secure storage so he could sell when prices peaked, he was naturally highly skeptical.
Of course.
Trusting a brand new middleman with your entire year's harvest sounded like a classic 419 scam.
Yep.
But he took the leap, and within 3 years, he tripled his family's income.
Tripled. And the broader data reflects that exact experience. By providing quality inputs and agronomic training, AFEX boosted baseline smallholder yields from a dismal 0.6 tons per hectare to over 2.5 tons.
That's a huge jump.
It was so effective that farmers actually gave AFEX a nickname in Hausa, Bawasa, which translates to serious business. They proved they were delivering real, tangible value.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Operating physical infrastructure in emerging markets comes with some incredibly acute operational risks.
Very acute.
In 2017, local police actually colluded to raid an AFX warehouse. They handcuffed the staff and seized a massive amount of maize without a warrant.
It perfectly highlights the difficulty of enforcing contracts when the local rule of law falters. So AFX responded by hiring an ex-military head of operations to enforce strict security protocols.
They also doubled down on digital traceability.
Exactly, ensuring every single batch of grain could be tracked flawlessly through the entire system to rebuild that trust.
But securing the physical grain was really just step one. As they scaled, securing the financial liquidity to keep growing became the next major bottleneck.
Right, and to solve those internal liquidity crunches, they underwent a major restructuring in 2021. They split into 3 distinct units: Fair Trade for the physical infrastructure, the exchange for the trading platform, and investment for financing.
And that structural clarity allowed them to raise substantial capital, like their $130 million commercial paper program.
Which is essentially issuing short-term corporate debt to fund their cross-continent expansion.
So, what does this all mean for you listening? Whether your focus is tech, logistics, or finance, AFX is a total masterclass in how integrating physical infrastructure with digital platforms can repair massively broken systems. You can't just deploy software to solve a physical problem, you have to build a tangible infrastructure beneath it.
Which leaves a final provocative thought to consider. If integrating physical warehouses was the missing prerequisite for the last decade of ag tech, it makes you wonder. As global populations surge and climate change threatens crop yields, could AFX's localized, tech-enabled commodity exchange model be the exact blueprint the entire world needs to guarantee future food security?
Thank you for listening to Mission Possible, innovating for the world's most marginalized. This podcast is built on the outstanding work of our students, whose curiosity and commitment drive much of the research and storytelling you hear. Each episode is grounded in academic research and shaped through close collaboration with our partners. To learn more about the research and partnerships behind this podcast, feel free to contact us. Thank you for joining.